Hey guys, welcome back. When you think of sandwiches, you think of a quickly put together last minute lunch made with leftovers. Today, I'm going to show you one of my favorite sandwiches that is also a vegetarian. Now, I love eggplants or aubergines and I love sandwiches. So, why not put them both together and make them something very nice and interesting? One of my favorite things is the sandwich. I am also very picky about my eggplant. The perfect eggplant has to be soft but not mushy so that you get a nice golden crisp rounds. Once the eggplants are cooked in the oven or baked in the oven, you can put them in between any bread which you like with some salad and some sauce, and what you have is a wonderful gourmet sandwich or a gourmet meal. Let me show you how. So let's get cooking. Now, most times when you're having a vegetable sandwich at home or a vegetable burger, you probably have a vegetable cake or a vegetable tikki, or you put a piece of paneer and it works perfectly well. But this is a fantastic alternative. So I'm going to use aubergine. You need to get the large Dutch aubergines or the big aubergines so you can slice them well. Also, when aubergines cook, they basically look a lot like a piece of steak. So for a vegetarians, you think actually it looks like a steak, but it's actually aubergine. So it's one of my favorite vegetables. So we're going to start off by first trimming the ends of the aubergine. We're going to slice the aubergine into almost 3/4 inch slices. So you want to be nice and chunky. Now, aubergines have a very high water content in them, but they need to be cooked very carefully. So you want the thick part or the thick cuts. The thinner sides are not really wasted. They're used to make a staff meal or go into some other dish in the restaurant. So never just throw them away. Always use them for something else. Now, aubergines are quite bitter on their own, and the best way to remove their bitterness is actually to degorge them, or it's a French term wherein you actually season them with salt. So, what the salt does is it removes the bitterness of the aubergine, and that is done by putting some salt. So, you sprinkle some salt. So, lightly rub the salt, and then I like to put in this some red chili powder. You can use cayenne pepper, you can use paprika, that works perfectly fine. Or if you don't like the spice, you can actually not have the spice at all. A lot of people back in India would also use spice powders like say turmeric or cumin powder or coriander powder to season it, which is perfectly fine. Also, the aubergines don't have much flavor of their own, so you need to actually enhance the flavors. What you must remember is you don't need to put any wet ingredients into this. So no garlic, no ginger, no green chili or no coriander as such, because they have moisture in them and you don't want to add more moisture. The salt actually helps the aubergine to release all its flavors, or not flavors rather, but the water content, and then it is easier to then coat them with the crust and cook them. So this goes into the seasoning with salt for a good half an hour to release its waters. The next step is actually to make the batter and the crusting for the aubergines. If you pan fry the aubergine as they are, they become very greasy and they're not very nice to have inside a piece of bread or a burger or a sandwich. So there's a trick of how to actually crust the aubergines. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a batter. For that I've got plain flour. In that I add flavors. So the flavoring is very important because that will give it the key flavors you want to go onto the aubergine. Garlic powder, red chili powder, or you can use cayenne pepper, paprika is fine. Salt. Season your batter or your crusting very well. If you don't season it, it does not taste nice. And in that goes in our dried herbs. You can add fresh cilantro or anything else if you like to add. I like to use just some fresh herbs. And here this is a blend of oregano and rosemary. I'm going to just mixed or dry mix the spices along with the flour. You just mix it quite evenly and then add in water. And what I'm going to try and do is make a thick paste, or you call it like a slurry. There we are. Now this is going to coat the aubergines, and then we're going to give it a final crusting of semolina. Going to keep that aside and start with the crusting. Now there are very many ways to make a crusting for anything. I'm using semolina here, but there's nothing stopping you from using, say, breadcrumb if you don't have semolina. People also use sesame seeds, for example. Even they work well. You can also crust them with spices like cumin or with fennel seeds. Even they work extremely well. I just find semolina quite easy to work with because this one is a fine semolina. So when you cook a semolina, when it gets a very nice crisp exterior, because you know the aubergines are very soft in the center, so you need something on the outside that makes it very nice and crisp. The semolina, when they cook, they get a very nutty kind of a flavor and they have a very nice crunch. So this is one of my favorites. But again, if you do not have semolina, you can also use breadcrumbs and it will work equally fine. Or you want to put into an egg batter and then pan fry it, even that would work. Now there is no seasoning in the crust here, and it's very important that you season the crust, otherwise the dish becomes very flat. Seasoning is extremely important for the food. So this is a very simple one. It is just going to be salt, got some cracked pepper, and lastly some chili powder, and you can use cayenne pepper or paprika, it will work well. And all you do is just mix all the spice, the salt and the semolina to season the crust. This is very important. You have to season the crust quite well. At this stage also, if you want to add, you can probably add some finely chopped leaves of coriander into this. It will work well, or any other herb which you like, it will work well. Don't put too much together in one time, because once you add in anything which has got liquid in it, it tends to become lumpy. So you need to add more semolina to get more quantity to coat quite well. So I'm using small amount now, and if I need to add more semolina, I will top it up. So we'll wait till our aubergines are done and then begin to crust it. The aubergine has been resting for a while, and as you can see, there is a lot of water which is oozed out from the aubergine. Look at that. So all this water would have been inside the aubergine. What we do now at this stage is we're going to lightly dust or soak the water on a piece of paper. So literally dust it off, keep them aside. Just take out the extra moisture. So all the seasoning, the salt and the red chili actually sticks to the aubergine and it begins to flavor it. So the aubergines are done. I've got my batter right here, and at this stage I soak the aubergines or coat the aubergines in the batter. Because there is flour in it and there is spice mixtures, it begins to coat the aubergine quite well. And then my seasoned semolina. So you have one hand which is dry and one hand which is wet. Never put the wet hand inside to crust it, because the liquid will go onto the semolina and make it quite clumpy and find lumps in it or create lumps. So again, drain out any excess of the batter and in they go into the semolina. At this stage, all you do is coat the aubergine with the semolina to give it a wonderful crust. So all over, including the sides. Now what you get is an semolina crusted aubergine steak. So I'm going to do all my aubergine slices in a similar way. The aubergine steaks are now being crusted with semolina, and they are going to go into a preheated oven at around 200 degrees centigrade or around 395 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit for approximately 20 minutes for the semolina and the aubergine to cook. Once they are almost cooked, I will then take it out and add cheese into this. This is a vegan preparation, so there will be a slice of vegan cheese to go, but firstly in the oven. The aubergines are now ready. They've been inside the oven for 20 minutes, and as you can see that they are softened up, so they have cooked through, but they're not completely cooked. Now there's been zero oil in this, it's just been dry roasted in the oven. I'm going to now top this up with some vegan cheese. So I've got these slices of vegan cheese which I will just place over my aubergine steaks. On the large ones I will probably put almost full pieces. And the idea here is that this is now going to go back into the oven for the cheese to just melt over the aubergine steaks and give it a very nice flavor, and then we can line up our burgers. So back in the oven for another 4 or 5 minutes till the cheese just melts and the aubergine is just perfectly cooked. The cheese has now melted on top of the aubergines. This is ready to go. So I've got some leaves here to put between the sandwich or the baguette. So firstly is to get this off my table. I've got this ciabatta here which I have actually pre-grilled with a little bit of oil into a hot grill pan just to give it the grill marks. I'm going to assemble the ciabatta. It's a very easy assembly. It's like you do any burgers. I just love to have ciabatta, and what I have here is actually a brown bread ciabatta, so they're a lot healthier. So don't forget, this is a vegan ciabatta with some aubergines. The only oil has been on light glazing for this ciabatta. Other than that, there is no fat as such. I'm going to first start by adding some mayonnaise. Yes, now this is a vegan mayo. I have done a vegan mayo recipe in the past with on the YouTube, so have a look at that. So I've got vegan mayo here. Vegan mayo is made out of aquafaba, which is a water in which the chickpeas have been boiled, and they have the same principle as an egg. So it really aerates and makes a nice mayo. So this has got chili and garlic. So a generous helping of chili and garlic mayo on the bottom layer of the ciabatta. We'll spread that all across. On top of that, I'm going to rearrange some leaves. I've got very nice organic rucola, but you can use any leaf that you like. You want to use lettuce, you can use lettuce. The choice is all yours. You want to use rocket, you want to use watercress, anything. I just think that the greens really help your sandwich to really come to life. And if you notice, I'm trying to put all the ends of the leaves coming on the outside of the bread and all the tips on the inside. So very generous quantity of the leaves. On top of that goes in the aubergine steaks. So I've got one, then I've got 2 aubergine steaks, should do the trick. On top of this, I am going to add some hummus. Now again, the hummus recipe I have done in the past. This is roasted red bell pepper along with some hummus mixed together into a blender to get this rich, lovely, flavorful red pepper hummus. Look at the colors. It's already coming to life. Just going to spoon this on the side. And on top of that, I'll add a few slices of tomatoes, and something which I really love is red onion. I just love to have the onions with my sandwiches or burgers. I just love that. So we've got 3 layers here. We've got the bread, which is the grilled ciabatta, and we've got hummus or the chili garlic mayo. We've got the sardine leaves. You've got the aubergine with the semolina crust, cheese topping, red pepper hummus, tomatoes and onion. And lastly, all you do is put it on top and you're almost ready to go. A wholesome meal, a healthy meal, and a great alternative for your friends and family. So make sure you guys try it at home, make it for your friends and family, and do not forget to tag me. So until next time, happy cooking.